I'd like to welcome our next presenter, Mr. Peter Dasler, who is the President and CEO of CanAlaska Uranium, which focuses on the exploration of uranium deposits in the Athabasca Basin. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Tyler, and welcome to the presentation to your audience. It's a great time to be back out in the uranium space, but we've been talking about clean energy for the last year and a half very intently. And I think with this presentation, we'll be able to show the investment audience out there that we have something very exciting in the Athabasca Basin on our uranium projects. And we have a very strong opportunity in the next door province for nickel mineralization. And these things are very important to me. You know, these are the metals that you need to produce and store energy on a very low carbon footprint. You have already probably seen some of the audience talking about nuclear power, but we're very much on the front end of this. We're very much in the discovery end of this. And our shareholders are there basically for capital gains in this market, rapid capital gains with discovery. Now, our company has de-risked many of the projects that you're seeing here on this page. And we've acquired new projects that have had millions of dollars spent on them, but fell out of favor over the last 10 years as the uranium space dwindled. We've stayed very focused. We've had 15 years in the uranium industry with CanAlaska. Our experienced operators go back 30 and 40 years in the uranium business. But we have got a series of de-risk projects in the uranium space, and we're dealing those projects out to other partners so that we have multiple opportunities at any one time. If other people are spending their money on our projects, we can advance 1, 2, 3, or 4 projects together and rapidly bring that success to our shareholders. But we're covering that not only in uranium, but nickel and copper, and I'll give that overview. But we are a project generator. We're looking for discovery. This year, we've got 4 announced drill programs, and I'm expecting to have a new program announced for our Moon project, which is in joint venture with Denison, and also our Mountain Bridge nickel project is probably going to be a subject of a drill program. So we'll have ongoing exploration work, ongoing drill programs, basically every month right through this year and continuing into the winter of 2022. And the business case has now come full circle. We saw a number of years ago that the demand was there for nuclear power, but there wasn't enough uranium. Now we've seen those nuclear power plants that are still operating, producing more energy than before Fukushima, and we don't have the uranium to supply them over their lifetime. And we're seeing new build-outs of nuclear power plants. It's a magnificent opportunity for the resource industry. Many people are joining into this situation with small ideas on small nuclear reactors. But also we're seeing the build out in the Middle East of large nuclear power plants right through China, Pakistan, India, and then also in the US. There are 3 nuclear power plants that are just built or on the build right now, and 36 on the drawing board. So this business is going to grow. And to grow, you need uranium. And if you're going to have uranium making power, then you're going to have to store it. You're going to need nickel for those batteries and copper for all the wiring and business that you've got out there. So the circle there encompasses an area that's almost 200 miles across, 350 kilometers of Athabasca Basin, the best place in the world to go look for uranium, high-grade uranium. And the Thompson Nickel Belt next door in the province of Manitoba, the 5th largest nickel belt in the world. And we have footprints in both of those areas. In the uranium space, we cover not just the deep targets, which is our West MacArthur project, but right through to the shallow targets, the basement, what we call basement hosted targets. And the Cree East is a very significant analog to those shallower 200 to 400 meter deep targets, which have large opportunities for uranium at the unconformity in the basement. Our flagship property is next door to the world's largest, richest uranium mine. And on the footprint there, you see the size of the lenses of the MacArthur mine uranium deposit, the 600 million pounds of uranium at very high grade, initially, I think 25% uranium. But you also see a new discovery out at Fox Lake, 68 million pounds of 8%. And it's no coincidence that we've been able to drill to the west of there, just about 2 miles away from that, and find another zone of mineralization, because these yellow lines are the corridors of structural breaks. It's a bit like a railroad track, and you're looking along that railroad track for where the train is. Well, we've got here, we've made the first discoveries, and our shareholders are benefiting with that, with our share price up significantly this year. But I think this is just the start. We like where we're at location-wise, geology-wise. We have a magnificent target. And to explain that target, here it is on the left. It's twice, 3 times the height of the Eiffel Tower in size, and certainly that width of mineralization, 300 meters wide, 800 to 900 meters high, is where the water is saturated above the target. And this is pretty much the scale with the Cigar Lake mine, a large 200 million pound mine that's got another 200 million pounds around it, about a 400 meter halo here. This is a 900 meter halo. We know we're dealing with a big system, and that makes us very excited, because we've now started to get to the center of that system with uranium discoveries. And those discoveries will be needed because there are no other targets that look like this out in the eastern Athabasca, and that's where the processing plants are. The Key Lake Mill is going to run out of ore 17 years' time after restart of MacArthur. And next door to the MacArthur mine, we have the Fox Lake deposits and our new discovery. Here you're seeing the Operation Halo to scale. Now, we've also given some opportunity for other groups to join us with these new projects in the north that we've staked, and our large Cree East project down to the south. We're now actively chasing partnerships for these. The Cree East project was the recipient of $20 million of Korean sovereign funding, and we bought that project back from the 50-50 joint venture in 2017, anticipating that there will be a new business cycle here for uranium. And it's here now, so our shareholders now will benefit from that. What I've put on this slide is some of the new technical advances that we're looking at. You know, on the left, here's what we call a bright spot, over 100 million pounds of uranium at the O2 next deposit. And here on the right, there's a gravity anomaly sitting over 300 million pounds of uranium at the Arrow deposit. Basically, when you get a coincident bright spot and gravity low, you have a huge opportunity for finding uranium in the Athabasca. And on our northeast projects, the ones that are sitting off northeast of the Rabbit Lake mine, the Eagle Point mines, we have these same corridors of mineralizing events happening, and we have staked ground through this area, and we're looking for those bright spots. And of course, there's a gravity survey which shows 2 bright spots in the middle of our target near a 1.4% uranium discovery on surface. But here, where the gravity survey doesn't cover it, we have another bright spot. So this summer, we'll be out there doing work on these bright spots, looking for these targets. And I think there's a fair opportunity. We'll have a partnership to help us with that. Typical geology, though, we've advanced a lot of things over the last 10 years, and we know that we can make discoveries in these areas that have this high fluid flow. The Cree East project, as I said, $20 million of Korean funding into this, just into that small red square. A beautiful series of targets there over the space of 5 kilometers, but also only 40 kilometers away from the Key Lake Mill. And that zone, again, 200 to 300 to 400 meters of uranium mineralization in the sandstone, but also into the basement. So we're looking at basement opportunities and sandstone opportunities for a large uranium deposit. And in Zone B, we've seen the physical 60-meter offsets at the unconformity, but we left this drill hole unfinished back just after Fukushima, and we have not been back to this project. We know it's altered all the way to surface. We know it's got uranium mineralization, and we've been waiting for the opportunity for the market to give us the funding to go back and make that major discovery for our shareholders. This past month, we've been drilling on our Waterbury South project, and we were intending to drill on our Waterbury East project, which are both near Cigar Lake mine. We weren't able to drill the Eastern project because of time constraints, but we have got some very interesting drilling from the southern target And we're looking to go back to our northern target, which is a big bright spot again that you see in the airborne survey response. It's much similar to the Cameco's discovery bright spots down here on the nearby next door property, where it's a pity we couldn't drill that this year, but it's sitting there for our next season of work. On the southern area where we just drilled, we have a new corridor of mineralization with a lot of alteration in the sandstone, and our shareholders should look for results for that over the next month. The nickel story is an add-on to everything that we're doing in uranium. We've got 10 uranium projects, we've got 3 nickel projects, and each one of these de-risks the situation for our shareholders. You need one discovery to be in the front of any audience in the nickel market or in the uranium market. And if you have a new uranium discovery in the Athabasca, we've seen the significant growth in companies, whether it's NextGen or Fission, Rough Rider, to grow from $25–30 million companies to $500 million–$1 billion companies with one discovery. And I think we have the opportunities in the uranium space for multiple discoveries. But the sulfide target shouldn't be overlooked. We've done a number of deals this year. The 3 projects that we staked, we've now optioned them out. The 2 northern ones have gone to Fiordland, which is 30% owned by Robert Friedland. Mr. Friedland and I had a discussion about these a year and a half ago, and we saw the opportunity to come in here, and they've done a $9 million deal with us. And now, just a week or so ago, a $4 million deal by D-Block and Nuco in the southern part of the belt. These are projects that we'll operate and get a reward for our shareholders as we move forward. Very soon, you'll see the results also from our copper project at Mouse Mountain. We're in the main Cornell copper belt, and this is a project I've known about since the 70s, and it was a great opportunity to get in there with Omanika's funding to drill this. So add-ons for all of our shareholders. Our board is there for success. Ambassador Thomas Graham worked for 5 US presidents and negotiated all the strategic arms deals that you've got out there. Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, Maryland's first lieutenant woman governor, a lawyer and a uranium buff, and a very strong supporter of us for the last 7 years. Dr. Carl Sheeman made that discovery at Cigar Lake in 1981 and ran Arriva's operations in the basin for 10 years and has been with me for the last 16 years on these projects, and we believe we got success. And John Luke, very strong financial background, comes from First Quantum and a lot of work that he's been doing. So I have a great team. We've been together for a long time, and now the uranium space has turned around for us. As you can see, our share price has started to respond. Nowhere near our lofty highs way in the past, but in 2016, we did do a deal with De Beers and another one with Cameco, which pushed our shareholding up. We have well over 4,000 shareholders, and I think they're all waiting for our next discovery. So I have a great situation for shareholders now. The share price has pulled back over the last couple of weeks, and there's an opportunity to move forward for people. We've de-risked what we can. We think we've got an opportunity for people right now, and I'm very pleased to be in the uranium space because I believe in clean energy. I believe that nuclear power will supply that clean energy for us, and is probably the only source that can allow us to get back on our footings and have a very pleasant place to live in rather than a carbon-induced smog around us. So, Tyler, that's my run through. I hope your investment groups like this. We've got a lot more data on our website. Corey Bielik, my COO, has got a great video presentation that we've uploaded for you to have a look at. It's a week old. And I think the market is now ready for us to move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for taking the time today, Peter. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the conference.